Welcome to the Couple-preneurs Show, helping couples in business develop structure and strategies that nurture the balance between business and home, bringing you interviews and insights to give you the secret sauce of power couples. Here are your hosts, Oscar and Kaya Frazier.
Entrepreneurs, couplepreneurs, people thinking about getting into business, aspiring entrepreneurs. If any of these things sound remotely like you, this show is absolutely for you. I'm super excited about today's conversation. We've got a great guest that I'm sure each one of you are going to learn something from. But before I do that, let me turn this over to Kaya so I can make sure she does her part and I don't just gloss over it. So if you can, Kaya, do your thing.
We've got to acknowledge our sponsors. Sponsors pay the bills and all that good stuff. So Carolina Runners is our first sponsor. They're a family-owned trucking company, owner-operators looking for an authority. Please check them out. Give them a call or check out their website at carolina-runners.com. Also, we have Talk Shirt to Me, shirts that speak and help you express your style. You can check them out at talkshirttome.com, and it's spelled exactly how it sounds.
Look at you going straight through it. That's pretty impressive, man.
Yep, and I got the dash.
You are getting damn good at that, man. Whoa. All right. So for everyone listening, let me start with a quick story, and I think that this is going to be a great segue into the special guest that we have today. Some years ago, in Charlotte, and this was probably, Kaya, what was this? Maybe back in
2015, 2016.
Yeah. But we knew Mary prior to 2015.
We did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. It was probably 2012.
Yep.
Yeah.
Around that time.
That's
yeah.
Right.
So Kai and I have, as most of you guys know, we've been in some level of entrepreneurship since 2004. And, we wrote this business plan probably in 2007, 2008. We wrote a business plan that we were going to open up this booze, blues, and barbecue juke joint, for a lack of a better word, in Charlotte, North Carolina. And when we wrote it, the concept was going to be like this, under 5,000 square foot, small, location where people could come in and get great food and listen to great music and really get authenticness in an area that was kind of lacking that, right? And so we would, as we met Mary, and Mary would just like listen to our vision, listen to our dreams about this, and you'll find out why in just a moment, everyone, because Mary is very, very deep within the music and acting and that genre, if you will.
A bottle of awesomeness. Just
all in the one. Exactly. That's why I'm so excited about this. So we talked to her about this dream, and some years went by. We just kind of lightly talk about it, etc. And then finally, in I believe it was 2014, we met with some realtor. We started looking at some locations. And when 2015 hit, we finally decided to go ahead and sign the lease. Now, the sidebar, which most of you all will probably find out over a good cocktail, would be that we totally bypassed our business plan and ended up, building this well over 12,000 square foot mammoth that just about killed us. But the person that helped keep us sane, and the person that helped us with almost all of the real true talent that came through the restaurant is none other than Mary London. So Mary, thank you so much for being on the show. We are absolutely excited to have you here today.
And blessed.
I tell you what, it was such a great meeting of the minds. The first time we met, it was like, oh my gosh, I've known you forever. And I think we all had that mindset of let's do this, and the excitement that we kind of fed off of one another with. And I thought that was probably the really key thing that happened. And I think collaboration is really important when people are getting together, feed off of somebody else that gives you that energy level, and the synergy is good. And we had that. And it was really great because when you called me after because we did look at some properties prior to the one that became Blue Notes. But I like the smaller venues and things along that line, but man, that was such a great time, and it was stressful at times. And I still think that still think that your dream, your original dream, was the one that was going to be the key dream that would have really been incredibly successful here, because I really loved what you had in that game plan. And it's it's okay to have a sidetrack, though. It's okay to go off the rails a little bit, and then to say, okay, I'm going to go a little further than I expected to, and then you learn from your mistakes or you learn from your wins. I mean, that's the only way we ever learn or grow our business, right?
That's absolutely right.
Absolutely. And stuff. So we could, I know, continue to talk about this topic for so long, but fortunately, in this conversation, it's really about pouring more into you, Mary, because a lot of our, listenership, they're entrepreneurs, they're couplepreneurs, they're people aspiring to get into business. And there are times when some of those people come to us and they're saying, look, I want to actually get into playwriting or to film or to voiceovers or voice acting, etc. And this is the opportunity for them to really learn from an expert, someone who is in that field, who has done well in that field. So Mary, if you will, just walk us through, Mary, the actual brand, of your company as well, how you got into this and what you're doing now.
I got into it because I was in radio for years. I was a DJ. I was on the air. I did live radio. And then when voice tracking took over, I left radio. And a friend of mine had an advertising agency, and he did a lot of commercial production work. And he said, "Hey, come on and do this stuff with me." And we did a morning show together. So I did a lot of mimicking, and I'm a voice actor. So we did a lot of different things, and we did character voices, and we both were creative writers, and we did bits. So it was theater of the mind type stuff, and we really fed off of that. As a matter of fact, I'm still producing a syndicated radio show that's theater of the mind. There's a lot of theater of the mind in it, but it's like a best of the 70s type show. It's called And Then There Was That with Sunny Hollywood Chase, and I'm the executive producer for that. But that came about as I started to work with him after I left radio. And the thing about it is that, every opportunity, it's like, okay, I want to do this. Can I do this? And those that want to get into things like voice acting and doing commercials and stuff along that line, your best bet is to always find someone that knows more than you do and that can give you advice. Listen to things that are being done on the radio, on television, see what type of delivery that there is. And, actually, there's something out there right now that I think is a huge advantage to people that want to get into something, and it's the Masterclass series. And it's really worth it to be able to check it out, to see whether or not that's something that you would like to develop, because it helps you to develop it on your own. And you can watch each one of the series, and they've got experts in the field, and they can help you a little bit. And as far as that goes. And there are so many tools you can have on your telephone right now. So if you want to do commercials and you want to audition for something, you can actually use tools that are on your cell phone. Things like Twisted Wave, which is an app download. It's Twisted Wave.
Okay.
And you can download that. You have that?
No, we don't. We're writing it down.
Twisted Wave is a great app because you can just do the voices, and you can do your voice stuff on there, and then you can go into it. You can actually, on your phone, you can edit out things. So if you have breaths and things along that line, you can actually put a little echo behind it if you want to. You can normalize it. There's a lot of different things and tricks that you can use on it. But it's really convenient. So if you're on the road, say if I'm on the road and I get an email that says, you've got an audition for so-and-so. And the studio tells me I've got an audition for that's due that day or due the next morning. If I can't get to the studio to do it, what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and I'll do Twisted Wave on my phone. And the quality of it is good enough for me to be able to send forth as an audition. And, you either get the gig or you don't. And there are times when I do, and there are times when I don't, but it's a crapshoot. And here's the thing. You've got to understand, if you're an entrepreneur, it's like sitting at that dartboard and you're throwing darts and you're throwing darts and you're throwing darts. Well, when you first start throwing darts, you're not going to be very good. But the more darts you throw, the more options, or the more likely it is you're going to hit the bullseye. Yeah. And unless you continue throwing those darts, you're not going to know whether or not you're going to make it. So if there's something that you love to do, go for it. It may not support you right now, but it might in the future. But never forget the fact that dream is there. follow it. Yep.
Totally dig that. Totally dig it.
Yep.
Mary, being kind of like a connoisseur of so many different skills, voice acting, playwriting, writing, everything that you do and do so well, how do you determine what direction you're going to go in? Have you ever had a situation where you were going down one lane and then you realized, ooh, I think I might want to do this, and had to change course? Can you tell us about something like that and how that made you feel and how you were able to overcome it?
Yeah, there's something I thought about the other day. Somebody said to me, "Oh, you're so lucky. Things are always falling into your lap." And I don't think that that's true. I think that what happens is things fall, right?
Right.
And it's your option to take a look at all the stuff that's there that fell. You pick it all up, put it in your lap, look at it, and then move forward with it. So sometimes things that you have that have worked for you are going to be things you can build from, and sometimes they aren't. Sometimes it's like, I've got to start from scratch because I've broken everything. It fell, it broke, I've got to fix it, I've got to start. What do I do now? And I guess we all go into panic mode sometimes, I think, because the stress load can be pretty heavy. When you're an entrepreneur, I have to say that the hardest thing is because you have to rely totally on yourself.
Right.
It's up to you to be able to get you have to get your own ideas. You have to, but that's why you have mentors and you have other people that you feed off of that are successful within their industry and things that you want to do. But I think that the stress load that you have, because it's all up to you, is really difficult. So you have to have another outlet. For me, I mean, I trained for a triathlon, and that's what I did to be able to clear my mind. Every morning, not every morning, 2 to 3 mornings a week, I swim and I do laps. I swim 1,000 meters in the morning. I get up early and I go out and I hit the pool and I swim, because that's like a Zen time for me, and it helps clear my brain. And that's when I can, if there are things, I can't work it out when I'm in the pool. Some people like run and they work it out while they're running. I can't when I'm in the pool because it's a total breathing thing. So right. I'm not doing anything except focusing on the breath. So I think that when I get out, I can look at it more clearly and decide what's good, what's bad, and otherwise. We're going to have a lot of pitfalls. We're going to run up against those, but the key is not to let it break you down. And that's hard. It's hard, but you've got to figure out a way that works for you without drinking excessively.
Yeah. A little bit, yeah. But there are ways of being able to work around it. And there's sometimes I have a lot of different ways of, I've got a total gym, so I can work out on that if I need to. I paint. So as an artist, I can get out a lot of the stuff there because I have a lot of different things that I work on the right side of my brain. So I'm in that creative mode all the time. And I also throw on music because sometimes that just helps me work through whatever it is. It's amazing if there's certain music that you have that kind of jumpstarts your brain again, or at least washes it out, so that you don't have, you can get rid of the crap. But there's going to be, and I've had my share of defeats. I've lost some really good clients. Last year was, oh my gosh, as everybody knows, was really difficult because my best clients who loved me had to drop out because we were all hurt by the pandemic. Right. And they still haven't come back in full force, but they've come back, and it's like, hey, you're part of our team. You're part of our team. We love you. Don't let us go. And I love that part of it. And I'll do anything for my clients, anything I can for my clients to make them successful. But it's also, it's a scary ride. It's a scary ride because I don't have a guaranteed salary from somebody that the powers that be that writes out a check for me every month or every week. Totally can relate. Yeah.
As can a lot of the listeners.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was actually going to switch gears here and ask a question. And this one came out of your bio. So before I go into that, was there a finishing statement you were going to have there?
No, we're good.
Okay. So this drew my attention here, and so you talked about being on the syndicated radio shows and the things that you're doing now, but this sentence here: her ease with words led her to express her innermost thoughts after the death of her husband Michael. And talk to us about the lost world. I of course we know a lot about it. We followed you, and we've been heavily involved in a lot of the things that your mind, how it works. We'd love to just hear the backstory there.
The interesting thing was that when my husband died, he was a liver transplant, and he had a lot of medical challenges, but he actually had this really positive attitude. So he was really a fabulous person to be around because that positive energy was so great. But when he died, which was unexpected because I really felt that we had gone beyond that point of him being in a danger zone. It was very unexpected, and so for me, the trauma of his death was immense. We never had kids, so that was my soulmate.
Yeah.
You two know about that.
Yeah.
So that's my soulmate. So that was, to me, this huge loss because he's also the best cheerleader I ever had. He was the one person that believed in me no matter what, more than any family member ever did. I mean, he really believed in what I did, and he was always encouraging me to go after whatever dream I had, that there was nothing I couldn't do because he was the same type of spirit. So in order to deal with it, I started to journal every night. I was like letters. I was basically writing letters to him that were of my day and the fact that I missed him and I loved him and things that were going on and what was happening in my head. And that was my way of working through it, but it was my way of kind of talking to him every day. And after a while, all of a sudden I had this huge stack of journals because every single night I wrote. And I started to go back through it, and I realized that there was some really good material there, and that it was, as I read it, I understood the fact that, yes, I can write, and I have the ability to be able to do that, and it's a gift that was given to me, and, and I think that when you get a gift like that you use it. That's where you get it. God gives you gifts to be able to share with others. So I thought, okay, I'm looking at this and I'm realizing the progress that I'm making and the fact that, but I also felt all the pain that was there. And I decided that I should put this down in a book. And there's also another reason I did this. It was completely selfish because we didn't have kids. So for me, it was our progeny. It was saying we were here. We lived. He lived. He was remarkable. I loved him, and I want to honor him because I want this to be something that is going to be forever there. So it was very selfish. And then after I wrote it and I published it, it was self-published. So I had people read it, and someone said to me, this really needs to be a play. This would make a great play because there's a prelude to it where it talks about the story of us and him in the last day. And then after that, you get all these journal entries, and that's where the Lost World monologues come from. And the Lost World, it's LOSSWORLD. So just in case you're wondering if I'm saying lost or lost.
Right.
But what happened then is when someone said, you really need to do this, turn this into a play, and it's like, okay. So I sat down with a friend of mine who happened to have been a director, and she said, she did a lot of stage stuff. And so I realized I had to make changes to some of them because what you read and what you actually speak are two different things, because you can comprehend things reading it, but it doesn't always come across clearly when you are saying it out loud. Yeah. So I made those adjustments, and then I realized that if I were to put certain monologues in there, because some of it was pretty depressing, so this is really difficult. But I realized that people would be committing Harry Carey in the aisle if I didn't find some light stuff. So I went back through all the stuff that I'd written, and I'm going, okay, I'd make some adjustments here, there, or whatever. And so the Lost World monologues then became a stage production in Black Box, and I had 9 women that performed it in 2015. And on 2 nights in June. So that was really great. And then there's a woman, Kelly Zerbis from Los Angeles, who's a singer-songwriter. She said, I really like this, and I'd like to do something with this. And she said, I would kind of like to do like an enhanced reading and then use some of my original music to transition in between it. So we worked on that, and we did performances in 2017 and 2018 and into 2019. And some were in Los Angeles, some were in the East Coast. And so that, and some of them were even things like support groups that were in situations where people had lost family members and things along that line, that they actually asked for those performances to be held there, which was, I thought, a really good way to do it. But anyway, so that was the iteration. That was another iteration from the book. And then with the shutdown of 2020, the world coming to a close,
Right.
I'm sitting around going, okay, what am I going to do now? I need to do something. And I'm thinking, I think that there's so many people that have lost family members during this whole year, and they've lost people that they love. And I know that it's important to be able to have a place to go to, because it's that shared experience and understanding that you're not the Lone Ranger that was so important. So I thought, well, there was the North Carolina Arts Council had some grants. They're micro grants. They weren't huge, but they were micro grants, and they were available. And I said, So I applied for micro grants, and I've got a real good friend. I love her to death. Her name is Maria Howell. She's an actor. She's a singer. And you probably saw her. If you saw The Color Purple, you know who she is. She was the wonderful, fabulous soloist in the choir in the end of the movie, in the gospel choir in the church. That's Maria, and she is wonderful, but she's also a bona fide actor, and she's one of the hardest working people in the industry. But she and I've known each other for years. I don't want to tell you how many years, because that would really be giving you too much information. But I said to her, "Would you direct this for me?" And she said, "Oh yeah." So I applied for the grant, got the grant. She directed it. I was executive producer. I'm also in it. I'm the worst of all of them, but she also brought in friends of hers that are really good actors, some from Atlanta, Patricia French and Vicki Ang, both who are, you can look them out, you can look them up on IMDb, and you'll find them there, along with Maria. And then Michelle Weber from Charlotte is in it. But we went down to Atlanta, and we shot down in Atlanta for two of the women, and then we did some of the shooting in Charlotte. And then I have a friend of mine who's an incredible, gifted dancer who I wanted on the original stage play, Reba Bowens, and she's just wonderful. And she's an interpretive dancer, and she's very strong. She's also a capoeirista, and she, because I play capoeira, and so she's very, very strong. And she did interpretive dance for two of the pieces, and the whole thing was filmed in this area and edited, and I submitted it back to the council, and that's been done. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to re-edit the audio, because I'm a stickler for audio, and that's not quite the perfect thing that I want it to be. I want to just clean it up a little bit. And then I want to submit it to some film festivals, short film festivals, because it's 27 minutes. And so it will qualify for short film festivals. And I know that Early Bird for Sundance is in August. I'd like to get it in there. And then there are a lot of, Atlanta's got short film festivals. There's, Nashville, North Carolina's got a bunch of them. And I'm based in North Carolina, so I'd like to be able to get it in the Northeast, or the Southeast rather. But that's where that's going. But the nice news is that my play is also being considered in different theaters now around the country. So hopefully that will open up for that. Yeah. And I'm excited to be able to see that on stage, because I would love to see that done elsewhere and see what the interpretation is, because it's weird. It's really weird going somewhere and sitting there, if it's something that you've written and you're watching somebody else say your words, because they're bigger than you. They're no longer yours. They're bigger, because good actors can make them so real, and they understand the emotion and they get it. And so I'm excited about what's to come. Whatever happens this year is going to be bigger and better. And I want to turn this into a real screenplay, actually.
Yeah, I know that happened.
That's a wonderful, but there's so many nuggets in that story of just like, one, putting it out there, right? And exposing yourself, taking a risk on an opportunity that presents itself. Just kind of putting all your thoughts and your feelings down on paper and letting them morph into something bigger and better and greater, you know? And then there's the aspect of not being afraid to take some chances, right? So earlier you said that somebody said, oh, things just fall into your lap. No, it's about pursuing something.
Yeah.
And
totally
then
agree.
that opportunity leading to another opportunity, leading to another opportunity, but there's work in between and behind the scenes. And a lot of people don't get to see that work that you put in order to get to the table and have another opportunity present itself while you're still doing more work. So I just think that is a great story that a lot of people can relate to.
Yeah, and think about how raw it is.
From. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a raw, scenario where you're having to expose yourself,
right?
To people in order to get to that dream or to that next goal, and that's. I think that speaks a lot to entrepreneurship. It is a lot of exposure sometimes, especially when you're doing a passion project, you're doing a passion business. That it can really be a naked scenario to where people are going to see the raw you. They see the stories that you were writing, but then it becomes something beautiful, right? And I think that speaks to entrepreneurship at every level of the definition.
100%. Yeah.
And I think if you've got the passion there, I think that because they can recognize the fact that you really are involved, it's not something that you did on a whim. It's something that you really felt the need to be able to express or to do or, to create. I think that's where the success comes from, because if it's your own and you own it, I think that you end up working that much harder to make it happen. But it's weird because, this didn't happen overnight. And if anybody thinks, it's an overnight, no, the book was out in 2013. That's when the book was out. The play was in 2015. Then the other ones came 2017, 2018, 2019. And then this 2020 is when I got the grant. And 2021 is when I actually did the short film. So this is an evolution of 8 years at this point, right?
Yeah.
So it's not something that just happened overnight. And in between, I still do my voice acting, and so if you want to hire me to do your commercials, I'll be happy to write them. But that's just it. There are so many options that are out there for you, but continue to keep nurturing and to do it and write it down. A lot of people think that, and I have to physically write stuff down. It doesn't work for me to just throw it into a computer. Having all of these volumes of journals that are handwritten journals to me is really valuable, because I don't think going back to it would be as effective for me if I had put it all onto a computer. To me, it's that personal thing. Write down those dreams, because that kind of stamps it into your head and says, okay, make sure you are writing those dreams down.
Right.
Absolutely.
And then never say never, because you don't know when you're going to pick it up, and just pick it up every once in a while. You may not be able to do it today, but you might be able to do it 2 weeks from today, start something else, or a year from today. But put it down and don't say it's not possible. Just say, maybe it's not possible right now, but I'll figure it out. And that's just it. You figure it out.
That's absolutely a common theme for folks that have reached a level of success, is just write it down, make it plain, and then keep on keeping at it, and not stop.
That's it.
Mary,
Exactly.
we could talk to you for probably 24 hours, and we would still have more to talk about. But we promised the folks we would try to keep all of our shows at least right around 30 minutes. So unfortunately for us, but I guess fortunately for those we promised to keep within that timestamp. How can people get in contact with you that would like to either talk to you about voiceover work, voice acting, film, play? How can they get in contact with you?
The easiest way is to just go to info@marylondon.com. info@marylondon, like the city.com.
Okay. Yeah, and what we'll do is we'll also make sure that that's on the bio, on the show notes when we get this, when this goes live. Also, do you have any information for the book or the play? Can they get more information about that by going anywhere?
Yes, that's on thelostworld.com. And again, it's Lost, LOSS, thelostworld.com. That's the website that is designed just for that. So if you have a theater and you want to be able to do the production, you can actually order a director's copy there. If you want to order a copy of the book, you can go there. You can also get the book on Amazon, and it's also available as a digital download, as well as a hard copy.
Awesome. Outstanding.
So cool.
Yeah.
I always hate jumping off so fast.
I know. But like, no.
I want to talk to y'all forever. I miss you so much.
Yeah, man. Well, again, Mary, thank you so much. We're going to actually probably give you a call right after this to kind of debrief and everything. But this has been phenomenal. Okay. I already know that the listeners are going to be they're going to gain something from this for sure.
And I'll be happy to take calls. I mean, the information to get hold of me, and I'm going to even give you my phone number. It's 704-779-0996. 704-779-0996. If you feel that you want to talk to me because you have questions, I don't have a problem with that whatsoever, because I think that if we have any knowledge that we can share with someone that wants to have that is ready to launch, or that is thinking about it, or that has that excitement, I'm not going to douse your flame. Give me a call, and I'll be happy to talk to you. If there's something I can help you with, I'll be happy to help you.
Thank you so much for that.
Yes. I encourage the listeners to take advantage of that. Such great energy and packed full of so much information.
Yeah, we're living testimonies of that.
Absolutely.
Living testimonies of her ability. So thank you again, Mary. Before I start talking again, we'll be on another 2 hours. Thank you. We'll be talking. We'll give you a buzz right after this anyway to kind of chat it up with you a little bit more.
Sounds good. Thanks, Oscar and Kaya.
All right. Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Couple-preneurs Show. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.kothoughtleaders.com.